Alright, so I have a question for you. Have you taken the time to study great producers in hip hop and R&B or in house music? Have you taken the time to study? The answer is probably no. And this is why I think so much music today sounds the same, is because producers and beat makers haven't taken the time and put in the work to understand the greats, the people who've come before them. They don't know their history of this craft, and that's creating chaos in the music industry. If you come up in any field, okay, whether that's basketball or painting or producing, whatever, it's important to study and analyze the greats. Okay, if you want to be a great author, a writer of novels or something, you need to be studying the greats. You need to read a lot. You need to understand what makes James Patterson the best-selling novelist of all time. You need to understand why J.K. Rowling was able to create 8 books called Harry Potter, the Harry Potter series, and sell millions and millions of copies globally. What's the formula that makes her so great? You know, what about her makes her a successful author? That's the type of information that you need to put, that's the type of study and logic that you need to apply towards your production and engineering craft and hustle. You need to understand what makes the people that are successful in our industry and field so great at what they do. Unless you are actively doing this, you are going to fall victim to a certain trap that exists in the music industry today, and that's following the trends, okay? So I'm going to outline a process for you to step by step learn how to study and analyze great producers so that you can incorporate their most important characteristics and aspects and elements of production into what they do, into what you do rather, excuse me. All right, so the first step is to assemble a library, if you will, of self-study, okay? And this involves understanding the greatest producers and albums, in your opinion. This is following your taste in music. I want you to assemble a library full of producers and albums and songs that you can study and analyze and understand in detail, okay? So, in my case, the type of music that I study is like, I'm really into Flying Lotus, all right? Flying Lotus, Los Angeles. In my opinion, Flying Lotus is one of the greatest. I don't even know how to define his genre of music. It's like house, hip-hop, R&B, fusion music, beat music. He's one of the best to do it at this point, right? So I sit down and analyze his Los Angeles album or any of his most recent releases to sort of understand the elements of his music that make him so popular. Like what about his music is so great? I've studied Andre 3000 and Big Boy's Speaker Box Love Below compilation album, which is the highest grossing album in hip hop history, I believe. It sold over 10 million units. That's diamond. Okay, so not only is it artistically creative, but it is one of the most popular hip-hop albums of all time. So that's the type of thing that I study to analyze, to see why the world's attention was grabbed by this type of music, And I'll give you a hint. It's not because that type of music was trendy at the time. Jams like Hey Ya were totally in left field from the type of music that existed in the early 2000s, all right? From like Lil Jon and, all that type of stuff. Lil Scrappy, all the type of shit, crime mob that was going on in early 2000s. They were in a totally different field coming out of Atlanta doing so much different stuff. And they sold 10 million units, all right? So, all right, that brings me to the second step. The second step is to, once you've gathered the albums that you define as successful, okay? Once you have determined the type of music that you really respect and that other people respect, I want you to put in the hours to actually study it. And there's a very specific cadence and very specific way in which you need to be studying music. And it's not passively. You're trying to switch your mindset when you're listening to music now from that of a consumer to that of a producer, okay? The way that you listen to music as a producer and an engineer needs to be completely different than the way your friends listen to music as just fans, okay? You're not just trying to sit down and vibe out to it in your car. You're trying to actively understand and break down the details of why this music is so good. All right, what elements make this music phenomenal versus just mediocre? Okay, what elements of, as far as the emotion of the song make this so great? What elements of this mix make it phenomenal? Like, how are the kick drums mixed? How are the synthesizers spaced inside of the mix? How is this beat arranged that makes it so great? What is the overall theme of this song and overall overarching emotion of this music that makes it so great? That's the type of level of detail that you're trying to understand music from now when you're self-studying, okay? It's okay to be putting on headphones and listening to music in the gym, but you need to also put in the hours to literally, like you would read a book, you need to sit down in a chair or somewhere, do what you need to do, throw on your headphones or throw on your studio monitors, sit and just listen to the music. Just pay attention to the details, all right? Live with the music, just like you would if you were reading a book. You wouldn't be text messaging your friends. You wouldn't be browsing around on the internet while you're reading a book. That's not possible. I need you to apply your focus to understanding what is so great about the music that other people find great. Okay, that's the second element of self-study. Final step is to incorporate the best elements that you find in this music into your own music. All right, and this is different than what a lot of people do. I see a lot of people that have that trap sound. All right, they're trying to have they're trying to use the same synthesizer presets as Metro Boomin or 808 Mafia. They're trying to use the same effects on their vocals as everybody else. The auto-tune effect. They're trying to, everybody's trying to sound the same. They're trying to copy wholesale from other people. All right? This is not what I'm talking about. Once you've studied and analyzed what makes these producers so great, you want to incorporate elements into your music, all right? You're not trying to copy their sound and do what they do. You're trying to sit back and understand, okay, hey, for Flying Lotus, his drums are sort of off timing, but yet they groove really properly because he's not using any quantization. So maybe I can utilize this effect in my beat. Or maybe you might notice, Andre 3000, when he produced The Love Below, it's got some really interesting synth textures going on. Or this beat is mixed really nicely. It's not only got a kick that punches in the upper frequency, but also in the lower frequencies. So it sort of has that, Dirty South, like 808 feel, but at the same time, it's not exactly trap or Dirty South sounding. It sounds completely different. So you're trying to understand those elements and incorporate some of those elements into what you're doing. Grabbing pieces from someone else, grabbing other pieces from other people, and sort of fusing all of that into something that makes you unique, all right? You're not wholesale saying, hey, I want to grab this exact Metro Boomin trap sound and make this my own. That's a fail, all right? But you can sort of grab some of those elements from Metro Boomin. Maybe his kick drum style or something, the way that he puts his drums together, and then grab some other elements from somewhere else. You can't wholly take from top to bottom exactly what he's doing. His song structure, the way he cadences his hi-hats, the way he mixes his bass. You end up sounding like a clone, and that's no good, all right? But it's okay to take elements from producers who sound that you like, but it's not okay to wholesale copy exactly what they're doing, all right? And that's the reason why you're going to find that guys are so successful. When you think about guys like Pharrell and the Neptunes, they have their own sound. You can hear a Pharrell and Neptunes beat and know that it's their beat because it is in their own vein. All right, and it's completely different than the way anybody else is producing. When you hear a Kanye West beat, especially during the time when he was actually, making beats and producing most of his music, we're talking college dropout time or graduation time. That he has his own sound. You can hear a Kanye beat or a Timbaland beat. Timbaland has his own specific way of producing beats that really define his sound, or a Dilla beat, and that's what's important for you as a producer. If you're trying to take someone else's style wholeheartedly, then you're just a clone, okay? You're not going to find a lane, all right? You're not in your own lane. People aren't going to come to you for your music, when they know that they can get your sound, that even if you do make a hot trap beat, even if your trap beats are hot as shit, they know that they can get a plethora, a ton of trap beats from anybody else at any given time, all right? So That's what I want you to start incorporating into your sound, is understanding what makes people great and trying to incorporate some elements into what you do. So obviously you are dedicated to understanding more about production. You want to understand what makes great producers great. All right, I've got great news for you. I have recently put together a package called the Gold Pack, which gives you everything that you need from beginning to end to understand how to create great golden era sample-based hip-hop beats using only your machine. All right, no turntable, no audio interface required, nothing. I'm going to teach you from beginning to end the entire process of making those Pete Rock, Jay Dilla, Reasonable Doubt, Ski Beats type beats on your machine using samples, walk you through the entire process from beginning to end, giving you everything you need. Not only am I going to give you the instructions, but I'm also going to give you a library full of drum sounds, break beats, and actual samples themselves, soulful samples that you can utilize in your music so that you don't have to go out here and get some records. And lastly, even machine project files so that you can work along with me as I break down this thing step by step and show you the formula to sample-based beats. The retail value of this gold pack is typically $49. Even at that price though, this thing is still a steal, considering that if you just sell one beat license for $50, you're going to pay for this gold pack itself, all right? Selling one beat, the gold pack will pay for itself. However, you know how I do. Since you're a follower of this channel, since you really have invested your time with me, I want to hook you up with a very special deal today that allows you to get your copy of the gold pack for literally $1, all right? No catch, no strings attached, none of that, all right? Literally $1. So what I need you to do is, if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link to grab your copy of the $1 gold pack. It's in the description. You're going to click a link and land upon a page. It's going to tell you much more about what's inside of it and everything that you're going to get. If you're watching this on the blog, there'll be a link in the text of the blog article below that is going to take you to the gold pack page where you can get your copy for literally $1, all right? Again, my name is Rob. I am the creator of the gold pack, the author of Machine, the Hip Hop Beatmaker's Missing Manual, #1 guide in the world for machine producers, and I'm the author of HipHopRally.com, which is the #1 resource for you as a machine producer to learn how to utilize the advanced features of machine, okay? So no baby shit. We're talking about the more complicated aspects of audio engineering, of arrangement, of sound design, the advanced stuff, all right? This is how I'm so much different than everybody else that exists on YouTube doing this, okay? So subscribe to the channel, click the link to grab your copy of the gold pack, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.